All right, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the revolve tool. The revolve tool is a really good tool for making any kind of circular object, such as the smokestack part that is part of a toy train. So anything that's kind of circular like this, the revolve tool is good for. I'm going to start today by showing you how to use it to make a sphere, and then we'll do a ring, and then I'll actually show you that smokestack as well. So the basics we can just get by doing this sphere shape. So you can see I've already made a sketch that with a circle with a 1-inch diameter. I'm going to use the line tool and just cut right across that. And then I am going to use the trim tool to remove half this circle. And so now I have half of a circle. I'm going to finish that sketch, and we're going to use this revolve tool. And as usual, if you hover over the tool, it'll bring up a help menu, F1 for even more help. Also on the menu, it will show you what you need to do. And so you'll have the profile that you need to select and the axis that you need to select. So the profile is just the shape that we're going to do the revolve through. So I'm going to choose this shape here. And the axis is the thing we want to revolve it around, which I can choose this line to be our axis. And you can see we have a sphere. Now there's a couple other options that are at least worth mentioning. These aren't available right now, but these are the same options as an extrusion, so I can add material or remove material. We can also choose how far to rotate it. So right now I just did a sphere, but I can do an angle as well. So you can see 90 degrees, we get kind of a wedge shape, or maybe I'll do 270, and we'll have a kind of Pac-Man shape. So that's the basics of revolve. As I said, we can also use it to make a ring. So I will just undo all this, and we'll instead make a ring. So in this case, I'm going to put, say, a circle out here. We're going to go ahead and constrain that to the center. We'll put that 1 inch away, make that 0.5 inches. And I also want to constrain the height of it to get it fully constrained. And we'll make that 0. So that's fully constrained now. And then I'm going to put an axis right out here as well. So there's the axis I'm going to use to rotate this. And so we can finish that sketch. And again, use the revolve tool. We're going to choose the profile. It's going to be that shape right there. Our axis, this line we created, and it will rotate around that line and create this ring shape. Again, I could choose an angle to make a partial ring. So the last thing I wanted to show you is how I could use that to make that smokestack part. Now, what might be apparent from what we've done so far is that I only have to draw half this shape because I'm going to rotate it around the center. So I only need half of each of these diameters. And so we look at this, I'm only going to need half of the 0.5, half of the 1.12, and half of the 1.25. So we'll draw each of these 3 sections, well, half of each of these 3 sections. We'll do what basically draw a cross section of it. All right. So the first part is we had a rectangle, and it had a diameter of 0.5, but we only need half of that, and a height of 0.25. And then I will use a line tool to create the next part because it had those diagonals in it. And so that had a height of 1.5, and that diameter was 1.25, but we only need half of that. And then we would have a diagonal line that kind of finishes off that shape. The last part here, the top part, had a height of 0.25, and its diameter was 1.12, but we only have half of that. And then a diagonal line to finish that off. And so we can finish the sketch there. And we can revolve this, choosing each of those three shapes to be our profile, and the center line to be our axis, and then we get the smokestack. Just to kind of show you what it would look like if we picked a different axis, I can go in and if I pick this line to be the axis, you can see it would now rotate around that and make that shape. Or perhaps I could choose that to be it, and it makes another kind of interesting shape rotated around that. But to make the smokestack, we want this to be the axis. And there it is. All right, so that is it for this video.